welcome to Frugal Vlogmas Day 5. By the time we get to the end of this, I might be able to say it correctly. Today I'm in the kitchen and I'm making some big pots of vegetable stew and dumplings. This is going to be great because it means I'm going to have food for a couple of days. I just bought loads of veg. I got some veg that was on offer, and I get the wonky veg and stuff, and then you just put them all together, make a really nice filling stew, especially because it's so cold now at night and it's so dark. We're approaching the shortest day, it's only a couple of weeks away, so it gets dark really early, so you just feel like really good comfort food. And it's so cheap and easy to make, and you literally just chop up loads of vegetables and then just let them simmer away. I make my mum's dumpling mixture, so she was a bit old-fashioned. I don't know if it was a wartime recipe or what, but this is the recipe she taught me many years ago, and it's delicious and I love the dumplings, so I always make those to put in my stew, and I'm going to show you how to make those and how I do my stew. So for the vegetable stew now, I've got two big saucepans. I'm making loads because I want it to last a couple of days. So I've got two saucepans because my husband and I like different vegetables. So both of us are having potatoes. So I'm going to chop up a load of potatoes. This helps to make it more filling because it's just vegetables in there. Sometimes you do feel hungry again afterwards if you don't bulk it out with something, so I usually bulk it with potatoes. These are just wonky potatoes, the cheapest ones I could get from Morrison's. Then I've got some red onions, they're going in both. Cauliflower, these are on offer in Morrison's, these were only 79p on the more card this week. I've got half of one left from cooking something else, and then another one. I'll probably use this half up and some of that one. I want to leave some left for another meal. I've got a big bag of carrots. Again, this is just standard carrots, big thing. So I'm going to chop those up. We'll both have carrots. And then I love sprouts. My husband doesn't like sprouts, so I'm going to have a load of these in there. And I love parsnip as well. And my husband doesn't, so I'm going to add parsnip in mine. And when I've just chopped up and put all the vegetables into the pans, I'm going to add a sachet of this into each of them. This is beef casserole mix, which sounds a bit bizarre, but if you look at the back it says it's vegan. It's literally just spices and flavourings, and it does give it a really nice flavour. And you just I'm just looking at the directions. Yeah, you just add it to water. Yeah, blend the contents of the sachet with water and add it. So yeah, I'm just looking to see if I can see how much water's in there. 450 millilitres. So you just measure out the cold water, add this in, mix it up, put it in the saucepan with the vegetables. I've got one for each pot because I said I'm making quite a bit, and then I'm going to get that cooking, and then I'm going to make my dumpling mix. So I've chopped all my vegetables up now and put them in the two different saucepans. I added some frozen peas in with this mix as well to give him a few more vegetables in there. And I've added these sachets of the casserole mix. These were on offer in Morrison's. They're usually about 90p each, but there was two for £1.50. If you don't have one of these, or you want something cheaper, if you haven't got these, I've used like a Marmite extract type thing, or the own brand version of Marmite. A good spoonful in there with some warm water to sort of mix it all in, and that gives it a really nice flavour as well. So I'm going to put the lids on now and put them up to a boil, and then put them down to a simmer until the vegetables are soft. And I'm going to get on with the dumplings now. So this is my mum's dumpling recipe. It's never failed me yet. All you need is self-raising flour, suet. I'm using vegetable suet. You can use beef suet if you want to. Obviously we don't eat meat, so we're having a vegetable suet, and then some sage and onion stuffing mix. I find this is more crunchy and sort of flavoursome, but you could just use dried herbs in there. But my mum always used to use stuffing mix, and that's what I use. And it's basically half the amount of suet to flour. So for example, if you used 4 ounces of flour, you use 2 ounces of suet. If you use 6 ounces of flour, you use 3 ounces of suet, and then you add in the herb mix to taste. So I personally am going to use 6 flour, 3 suet, and 2 to 3 stuffing mix, because I like it nice and sort of sage and oniony. And I also want quite a few dumplings because we really like them. My mum would never get the scales out for dumplings. She would just use a large tablespoon. So I'm just going to use a spoon and measure out. So I'm going to do 6 flour, 3 suet, 2 to 3 of stuffing mix, and then I'm going to mix it to a dough with some cold water. There you go. I mixed all the dry ingredients together, and then I've added some water. There isn't an exact measurement for the water because sometimes it depends on the flour and the sage and onion stuffing, but basically you just add a little bit at a time. So my mum used to say you can always add more, but you can't take it away until it mixes to a nice dough like this. It's really hard. I've got one hand because I'm holding the camera, but you can see it's in a nice dough. So I'm going to divide it into portions now, roll it into balls, and pop it in the saucepans. In the saucepans with the stew. Now, if you're cooking a meat stew, you tend to add your dumplings later on because the meat takes longer to cook than the dumplings. But because I'm doing a vegetable stew, I put them in straight away, and then it all cooks together at about the same time. And I'm going to cook it all away until the dumplings are all sort of big and fluffy and the vegetables are all nice and soft. So the dumpling mixture made about 6 good sized dumplings, and they will grow a little bit more as they cook, but we love dumplings. Mine seem to be a bit larger, but I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. So I'm going to put the lids on and let them cook away. So the stew's all ready now. It's been bubbling away here, even though it's on simmer, for nearly an hour. And what I've done for the last 10 minutes, and this is optional, but we like a nice thick stew. As you can see, nice thick stew. Make sure as it's cooking that you give it a good stir from time to time, or it will stick on the bottom. We like a nice thick stew here, so I've added a couple of dessert spoonfuls of just gravy granules in there and given it a good stir around just for the last 10 minutes of cooking to make sure it's nice and thick. And this is a big pot stew. This is going to do me for 3 days, 2 evening meals and 1 lunchtime. And my husband's is a little bit smaller. His will do him for at least 2 meals as well. As you can see that looks really good. And the dumplings are really nice and big and fluffy. And all the vegetables are soft and tasty.